Hi everyone, so this is the next episode of building a Wild West town. Today we're building just a regular, well I say regular house, it's just a house, but it's quite a small house. It is a 2 bedroom house, but I only finish it as a 1 bedroom because, I don't know, I just thought it worked better, in my opinion, as a 1 bedroom. But you could easily have 2 bedrooms here. You could probably have 3 if you kind of squeezed it in. But so this house, I use quite a lot of, it looks like a simple basic sort of like A-frame house with like the dormer windows, but it's actually quite complicated to build. And the reason for that is the roof is made up of so many pieces in this house, and basically the reason why it had to be made up of so many pieces is I had to extend the eaves on the roof on the second floor so that they went below the line of the second floor, so that they went to the first floor, and then I had to build half walls around it to fill in the gap so that basically I could have the roof take up less space so that I could make the house smaller, but it was steep enough for the dormer windows, but it wasn't too steep that it looked kind of stupid. So getting that balance was quite difficult. But I did actually figure out something that I didn't know you could do in the game doing this. But if you add, so basically where you've got the half wall and the roof, anything below where the eaves are extended, there will be no wall there, so it'll just be like empty gap. So to fill it in, you can see at the moment I'm just building those curved bits of roof, and that basically fills in that gap. And actually, the game will automatically make them like diagonal. Um, it's not really a glitch; it's just the way the textures are, and it actually works to your advantage for this because it basically perfectly fills in the gap. Because obviously you can't build triangle, triangle, diagonal, triangle walls, but you can with the roof pieces. But then the roof piece is going to be there, and they have to be a minimum of 1 tile wide. So you can't use that glitch. Well, it's not a glitch, but you can't use that feature everywhere. But for this build, it worked pretty well. Um, and yeah, just added up the roof. But yeah, it just ended up being quite complicated to build this house anyway. Um, in terms of like design and style wise, like again, it is authentic Wild West. Like as you can see, I'm building the outbuilding for the toilet. There will be a cow shed. This time I don't put it in its own building just because there really wasn't enough space to do it. To keep it functional, because you need to make the buildings quite big because obviously the cow needs space to move around. But it worked well just as it kind of fitted in without having to be covered up anyway, so that worked quite well. Um, yeah, in terms of like all of the houses covered in like that wood paneling, just because that like the photos I saw, that's pretty much all the houses are covered in. And as you can see, like the longest part of this build was just trying to get those dormer windows right, because originally I was going to put them quite high up, but then as you can see inside the house, not only do they kind of clip through the wall, which doesn't look great, but also they're really high above because like they're really high off the ground, which just isn't really realistic. So I ended up having to basically redo the roof. Um, not redo it, but just basically split the roof into 4 sections, sorry. Then add like these half sections in below the windows, just so that I could have the windows lower down. So there's quite a lot to this build, but the end result turns out really nice. But it just from the outside it doesn't look particularly interesting. But actually, when you look into the details of the build, um, in order to copy this build like for like, it would be quite difficult to do in the way that I've done it anyway. But it can be done because I've done it. So if I've done it, then it can be done. I just added more of these fences. This is kind of like the fences in this game are actually really bad, like, in my opinion. Like the standard fences, debug fences all just look so much better. The only one that I don't mind is the one that came with like, I think it's Get to Work. Whatever. Anyway, it's just no, it's Get Famous. It's the one that goes with the steel staircase. That fence actually looks quite nice. because I use it quite a lot. But other than that, not the biggest fan of any of the other fences really in the game. And as we're on the topic of things I'm not a fan of in the game, I had a thought earlier when building this lot, because as you know, if you watched the previous episode, you would have seen the saloon/hotel. So they're all built in the same area, in the same kind of neighborhood, not in the same world. Well, they're in the same world, but within the world, you've obviously got the neighborhood. So this is the same neighborhood. And the first thing that I want to complain about is the surrounding areas of this neighborhood. Like at first they look alright, but if you look in the distance, you can see that like crane and like boat, and that whole area is a complete mess of like objects. Just they look like they've just been randomly placed. Obviously, you don't normally go over there because the game restricts you from it, especially if you're in build mode. But if you go into live mode, push tab to go into the like camera angles and use the control keys, then you can go into that area. It's just a jumbled mess, really. Like, it just doesn't look great. And that annoys me, but the thing that annoys me, I think, the most is that there's only 5 lots in this neighborhood, and they're all pretty small. And I've built bigger 64 by 64 lots that have probably 4 times the amount of objects, 5 times the amount of objects, as all of these 5 lots will combined when they're finished. Yet, to travel from this lot to another lot, I have to go through a loading screen. And I think it'd be really nice if the Sims could at least make it so that the neighborhoods are open, so that I can travel between lots within a neighborhood without a loading screen. You'll never be able to go from neighborhood to neighborhood without a loading screen in live mode, and the reason for that is because the neighborhoods aren't actually connected to each other. So they'll always, well, I say you don't need a loading screen, but something will have to show up because you wouldn't be able to see a sim travel from like this neighborhood in Oasis Springs to like one of the other ones because they're not connected. Like they're just almost like 2 separate platforms. It's pretty complicated, but maybe I'll do a video on it. If you want to see a video on it, put it in the comments. But yeah, just I thought I'd bring that up. I'm hoping in The Sims 5, whenever that's announced, that they bring back open worlds. I think if they don't really change build mode from what it is now, I'd just like to see open world comes back and variable, like more variety of lots. So lots with like different levels of terrain already on them, rather than me have to go in and put them on, because building a hill on a flat lot, however you do it, it's going to look unrealistic to a certain extent. Like it'd be nice to have just already like mixed terrain would be good, but we'll have to wait and see. I hope The Sims 5 is good because launch Sims 4 obviously was pretty disappointing from a build mode point of view. Quite a lot missing, but we're past that now. We've got pretty much everything we need now. Just need a bit more variety of lots, I think. But other than that, nothing else really to say in terms of that. So we're coming towards the end of the build now. As you can see, the furniture in the house is very basic. Again, following the theme, like most of these Western houses, like they really don't have much furniture in. They're almost like hunting lodges to an extent, but they just don't have much furniture in real life anyway. So I didn't want to overclutter them. And also, like, I want these buildings to be lived in, like, used for gameplay. And clutter is great, but it looks nice sometimes if you do it properly. But when you're playing the game, like, a lot of it just gets in the way, and it just adds unnecessary value to the house if you don't want to use the Marble OG. So that's why I chose not to overclutter the build. But anyway, that is it for the video. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you're enjoying it. Also, I think we just reached 100 subscribers, so thank you for that, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.